We're going live. So we are now live, and this is episode 6 of the Freedom Files. Good evening, everyone. Simone and I are delighted to have a very special guest on tonight, the one and only Mohammad Iqbal Adil, who we are so honored to have you back, Doctor, to tell your story, where you have every opportunity tonight to tell your story, address some major points, and bring us up to date with what's been happening since the last time we spoke. So welcome to the show, first of all.
Thank you very much, Robin and Simon. It's lovely to meet you, and thank you for having me for tonight. And I'm most grateful for your time and contribution as ever before.
Yes.
Right, so I start with what happened this time. That I briefly introduced myself. That I obtained my basic medical graduation in Pakistan in completed 1986. I came to UK in 1990 for higher education, training, and experience, which I successfully achieved while working in Ireland and United Kingdom. And I completed my fellowship in surgery from Royal College of Surgeons of UK in 1996, and I worked as a registrar, as a senior registrar, before I went back home in 1997, where I was appointed as assistant professor in surgery.
Okay.
So I worked there in a teaching hospital and contributed my teaching training and research work and publication, which I learned from this part of the world in 7 years, which actually helped a lot. But I returned in year 2000 back to and work here as a at a senior level as a senior registrar, and then in the UK for NHS. I was actually not now, but I am a general surgeon with special interest in gastrointestinal surgery, with
Yes.
surgery, and with laparoscopic surgery.
Okay.
I have been working, in fact, out of 30 years, 27 years I worked in UK. I contribute a lot in promoting medical education, training, research work, and have been successfully conducting scientific international conferences. For example, last year in June and September, when I was working in one of the teaching hospital in Manchester, I arranged 2 international scientific conferences. There was a great turnover from the medical graduate coming from different part of the world, which has been extremely successful. So
Wonderful.
I have interest in teaching and training medical students to post undergraduates.
So not only in the field of cancer, which has been deeply impacted by COVID situation, but you've also been very instrumental in bringing what I would call health and wealth into this country and your own, which is wonderful. It's a symbiotic relationship. You managed to get people learning and then helping others, which is fantastic. So I just want to congratulate you on an amazing interview with Richie Allen yesterday. And thank everyone in chat at the moment for attending. It's a pleasure to have you here. And apologies for the slight delay, but we need to give this man time to have his say. Tell us who were you talking to just prior to us?
I was talking to Tony Gosling from Bristol, and he very kindly had my interview for 1 hour from 7 to 8. That's why it took a little bit of time. So we finished at 8:10. So I'm extremely sorry that I have been delayed in joining you.
No problem.
I'm sure our guests forgive you, Dr. Adil. Don't worry.
No, I was teasing Tony. I said, make sure you let me have the doctor after 7:30. He said, "Oh, I'll be done at 20 past." Yeah, right. So it's nice to have you with us. And
likewise.
So just for the viewers' perspective, we did an interview ourselves, didn't we, back in April? And
we did a couple of interviews. One we did together, and then Mr. Almas Kazi, he's another consultant, he joined us.
Yes.
Three of us had a wonderful interview.
So he's a surgeon in the field of cancer in the North London Hospital. And between you have 60 years experience. And you were saying on Richie Allen that you have a blotless record, which must be said here. You know, you have an exemplary record. And I remember at the end of that first interview, we covered all the bases. We covered the science of the tests. We covered the science of the Cox postulates. Rivers criteria, isolating the test. You talked about the problems with the tests process and the machinery and the amplification of the RNA and the exosomes. We did an amazing a load of slides that you gave us and papers, which is amazing. I had literally over 200 requests for those papers since that interview, and it still produces requests even today, because now we've put them back on BitChute. Those interviews of both the one we did together and the one with Dr. Kazi as well, those papers then triggered all, even more requests. So people are genuinely interested in finding out what it is you knew and what it is you're concerned about.
Papers with all the scientific research publications collected from different resources.
Yes. So something that you did really well with Richie Allen, and I'd love us to cover again if you don't mind, which is your specialism is cancer treatment. Tell us about the whole NHS strategy or the government strategy.
Yeah, it was actually
that was happening, impacting your own hospital.
Yeah, I was working in one of the teaching hospitals in North when we got the lockdown advised by the scientific advisory group of the emergency scientists, especially the group from Imperial College. They advised to the government that 8 million people would be infected with the COVID-19 and they will be admitted into the hospital, and 500,000 people will die if the lockdown was not carried out. On his recommendations, UK government put the total lockdown, which actually impacted not only towards the economy and education and livelihood of people, also it terribly impacted on the public health and well-being, because the hospital was totally given different sort of management strategies, which special directive was issued by the NHS authorities that to follow the instruction that all the planned admissions and operations, investigations, they were all cancelled.
Yes.
All the investigation, including the endoscopies and ultrasound scan, the CT scan, and MRI and other investigations, they were all seized off. The clinics were seized off, and there was special 125,000 beds were allocated from more than 1,000 trusts in United Kingdom because of the expected flood of patients rushing into the hospitals.
Okay.
Special directive to the professionals for taking care of the patient in a very special way in terms of donning and dosing, having training for the protection, including the fit test and the PPE, which is personal protection equipment, and the protocol is absolutely changed for admitting the patient into surgical assessment unit, and to the accident emergency unit, and into the theaters. So the theater staff was trained in a different way for receiving patient on one end and disposing from the other end after the procedure. Similarly, the patients who had mild moderate symptoms related to health, they were advised to stay at home and not to come to the hospital, because there was a of expected patient coming into the hospital. So that actually created a lot of fear and anxiety among the public across the UK for getting infection and dying because of the possible coronavirus infection. But actually, we had not seen that much flood coming into the hospital, and 6 to 7% beds were lying vacant in the hospital. And we observed that, noticed that, and we had a serious concern about those patients who were not honored to come and complete their investigations and treatment, including the patient were waiting for investigation for their breast cancer, a patient waiting for investigation for their bowel cancer, like having endoscopy and colonoscopies, and having the MRI scans, and the protocol was changed for all the emergency patients. And the more trend was more towards the conservative management rather than the operative management as a surgeon, which obviously uh, I was involved with all the patients with or without COVID-19.
Okay.
And that actually impacted a lot of patients who who were seriously ill. If they had operation for the bowel, breast cancer, other cancers, or they were treating. They were treating for they're waiting for the chemotherapy and radiotherapy. They were actually seized off, and more than 500 trials they seized off in this country, and more than 2,500 trials all over the world for scientific innovation has been seized off since January 2020.
Mm.
So that actually impacted patients who were waiting for the investigation and treatment. And the figure by the NHS in January there was 2.7 million people waiting for their investigation and treatment, including treatment for their cancers. And out of that, 870,000 patients were waiting as a 18 weeks wait rule. However, since the time gone by, people have not been welcomed into the hospital, and then they missed out the board and the opportunity for the investigation and treatment. A lot of patients have died. They've missed out. They have heart attack. They died because of complication of the cancer, the complication of diabetes, and lung cancers, and strokes, and paraplegics, and dementia, Parkinsonian. So that's what happened actually. Now, NHS figure is in July 2020 that there are 5 million people now waiting for the investigation and treatment.
That's
And
terrible.
the NHS bosses say that they will require at least 5 years to clear the work, provided they get the infrastructure improved. I don't know which way the NHS is going to go, which is funded by the public taxpayer,
So bad.
whether they are planning to make it private or they will sell it to some other part of the world for maintaining the health services. But it looks like that is going to be a very difficult task, which I obviously would had a concern as a surgeon, as a health professional working in this country for enormous number of years, like 3 decades altogether. We never had any problem like this ever before, but this is the extraordinary situation we were in.
So you were raised. Sorry, Simone. Just one quick question. You were raising the flag in April and you launched your YouTube channel,
Exactly.
and you had concerns and you were willing to go public, which was so welcome for us researchers. We were able to share your work.
Yes,
So,
but thanks very much, Robert, for that, because this was
mm,
extraordinary, which I couldn't cope with that because we had taken the oath that do no harm to the patient,
mm,
no harm. That is our first ethos, and we work for the patient for this to safeguard their health and their lives. We are not here to mask any uh, medical treatment and to deprive our patient from providing the medical facilities.
yes.
This is what our intention is. That the good medical practice we do in this country, and we have taken oath on that. And we saw that thousands of patients were discharged from different trusts who were mildly, they were just about getting better, but they were not fully recovered yet. But they were discharged from hospital,
Mm,
and the elderly patient who were suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's disease and had stroke and serious problem, they were actually transferred into the nursing home. And what happened in nursing home, everybody knows at this stage that they 2/3 of the majority of these patients when going into the nursing home, they died because of the isolation, because of the depression, and because of the lack of medical facilities in
mm,
the nursing home. And I at that time in April when I released my video, I showed my concern. I felt about that, regardless of any interest, my personal interest, any personal interest. I raised this concern that how patients are suffering, how they have not been honored even in nursing home. You see, they were not allowed to see their loved one, and they
mm.
were not able to see their loved one in the hospital or in the nursing home. And people died, and I got several calls from nursing sisters at the carer home that since they had seen my video, I left the link to contact me, and they contacted me. The doctors were coming to the nursing home, and the patients are seriously affected by not having medical treatment. That actually resulted in a serious problem with them, and the government admitted that they have seriously mismanaged the patient in the nursing home, and we had this, quite a large number of patients dying because of that, because of lack of facilities and dying at home. Many people died because of the lockdown and depression, isolation, anxiety, and mental health issue rather than dying from the COVID-19.
Yes, Mohammed, that's a very similar story that we're hearing across the country. We had some guests on our show last week, a lawyer from the UK, and their experiences with her clients are exactly that in their care homes. These people that were shoved there, they were given no care. They were actually given DNRs, do not resuscitate.
Not resuscitated. This was a common practice at that time, that anybody who is above 65 should not be resuscitated.
Yes, and you're right in that every single person that works in these hospitals, who have patients like yourself, are under oath. You have sworn to protect your patient above everything else.
Absolutely.
And uphold your professional standards and ethics, right? Because that's a major part of what you have to train in, is these medical ethics.
Absolutely. And that's what we have signed for. We have taken the oath on that, to do no harm and protect our patients and save
Yes, and what we're seeing is the absolute opposite. People are having harm, injury, loss, even fraud, because that's fraud. If you're putting a death on the death certificate, COVID-19, and they did not test for it and they did not have it, that's fraud.
That's right. This is what happened. They have been actually exaggerating the deaths due to COVID-19, and the government has seriously admitted that fact. And recently, I was watching the press conference not the interview on the main media by Mr. Wallace, and he admitted that UK has not done any good at all in terms of handling COVID-19. And he said this was a lot of mistakes have been carried out, and we learn from our mistakes, and we have managed the COVID-19 crisis in UK. And Mr. Hancock, he also admitted that he has not been able to look into the exaggerated by the Public Health England in multiplying the numbers related with the COVID death. And he said that the Public Health England has not counted the number properly for making the number of people dying with the COVID-19.
Yes.
Everybody was dying with different diseases.
Yes.
Everybody was positive at COVID-19. Doesn't mean that he's infected. This is my message to the.
But one of my
because of COVID-19. Sorry.
Yes, no. One of my questions is around that, where if the government can't even prove the existence of COVID-19, if it hasn't been isolated, how are they even testing for it? How can they even say it's COVID-19?
Absolutely, that test is fictitious. That again alarmed the bell when we saw the lockdown and the people were testing positive for COVID-19.
Yeah.
And dying for some other diseases, and going home and, for example, somebody has COVID-19 and he goes and he discharged and falls from the tree and dies next day. So he was labeled as dying from the COVID-19. Similarly, having a car crash and dying in a swimming pool, having COVID-19 positive was labeled under the COVID-19. That is the reality.
Yes, absolutely. And I remember a young lady called Lena Kay who has a Facebook profile, and she launched a video just calmly saying, "My father passed away with Alzheimer's, and when the death certificate was received, it was marked with COVID." And basically, they challenged the NHS, who then said, they said, "Why have you done this?" And they said, "Orders from above." And that video went so viral. She had over 3.5 million views. I've just been back to look for it, and it's gone. So I take
these troops, in fact, they are always masked. This is the agenda and the drama behind what's going on in the world. We can see that. We have witnessed that what's going on as a professional. I mean, 40 years, 5 years, and 35 years in the health system. Nobody can know them. This is all is happening is actually not the exact way it should have been, and this
Well,
is it's very difficult for people to understand what's going on.
yeah,
Only the help of
yeah.
can reveal the facts. What's the right know.
You know, we're really grateful, Dr. Adil, that you come on to shows like this, shows like Richie Allen, to actually speak out, because I don't see many other professionals in your field speaking out right now. Everyone is being gagged, everybody is being censored, but it's not even that. Mohammed, what really frustrates me is that these people are only thinking about themselves and their job.
Yeah, they are thinking about themselves, about their families and their jobs, but they are not telling the truth to the public. You know, all
Yes,
the drama which has been created by these PCR, RT-PCR, which is absolutely false. The sensitivity of 60 to 80%
may I?
positive. No, a false positive or 60 to 80%. It doesn't mean that somebody's positive is infected with the coronavirus, because 95% people with the test positive does not have any symptom at all. Only 5% had mild symptom, and they then require some treatment, and only fraction of patients they end up into having serious problem related to their breathing and their other medical associated with other medical problem. They end up into having serious problem, but doesn't mean that everybody who is a RTS positive, a test positive, is having a positive and he needs isolation he needs isolation or he needs to go to the hospital. No, that is not the case actually, and the sensitivity of this test is said very low. It's a 50%. That is a scientific proof, and the founder of this test, Carrie Mullis, who was an American biochemist, and he clearly said that this test should not be used as evidence for as a
Yeah.
reference for the COVID-19. But I don't know why we're using this test. That is actually a serious problem which is happening to multiply the number.
So why don't you tell us, sir, how things have been for you since you were called in by the GMC regulator for speaking out on your channel about what's really going on and your thoughts and your concerns.
Yeah.
What happened since then?
So what happened was I was summoned by the GMC on one weekend. I was given only 4 days to appear in the interim order tribunal to explain that why I've given the wrong information, which created cause of concern by the GMC on the couple of complaints by members of the public, whom I don't know whether they were paid by somebody or they were regular complainants or they were habitual complainants. Obviously, there is there's a fraction of the medical professional who are not in our related to our organization, which is three organizations which I chair and contribute my medical services and advancing medical knowledge and innovation in this country. Obviously, there is always an opposition to that. So who they were, I don't know. Anyway, I went to the hearing committee. I cooperated with my regulatory body as a part of my good medical practice. So without having any legal advisor and without having any representative with me, so they had an inquiry which I faced myself with one of my friend who joined me from Birmingham, and she had some experience of documenting the things and filing, but she had no clue about how the GMC procedure goes and how it works. So anyway, during the hearing process, I came to know that there is a GMC bundle involved consisting of 247 pages, which was not provided to me. And on my request, they sent me an email consisting attached with 247 pages to go through 90 minutes and to return for the hearing again. So I went back and they suspended me for 12 months just on the basis that I went on the public social media and I expressed my point of view of the COVID-19 It was my personal point of view, with my observation and my understanding, whether it was right or wrong. But I had a full right to express myself, taking the liberty of my freedom of thoughts and my human right. That's what I thought about, which has been taken so seriously by the regulatory body without giving any advice or any remediation prior to this hearing process. It's usually quite a advanced stage of coming to that stage without having any concern whatsoever related with my clinical ability and experience with the patient care conduct at all whatsoever, which I
So what I'm hearing is you thought very hard and long about speaking up before. You knew, in some ways, you knew that there would be repercussions. You knew that there would be consequences, but the truth and the weight of what you were carrying far outweighed your personal interests. And then what I'm also hearing is that you were hijacked, you were pounced upon, you didn't have a fair trial. These people knew what they were doing. They caught you unawares without having any preparation time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And due process, yeah.
Yeah, I was not given a time for preparation to submit my response. I requested for the adjournment of the meeting because I was given only 4 days to submit my response, but they disregarded my request, and during the hearing process, I again requested for the adjournment because 247 pages created a lot of confusion at the time by retrieving the email and printing out the 247 pages and then reading and going back into the meeting. That seriously affected my
mental health, mental state. Mm.
Yes.
Box, and that actually created a lot of stress and pressure on me. But they refused to adjourn the hearing at that time, and they suspended my license to practice for 12 months.
You were saying that they gave you 90 minutes to read this document,
Right.
and when you came back, and said I haven't had chance to read it, they went away for 20 minutes, came back,
Yeah,
and essentially made their decision with or without you.
Yeah, actually, when I came back for the hearing, I requested them that I was not able to go through 247 pages, and I feel difficult to catch up with the documents. So I need some time to prepare my response and to submit. And obviously, I also requested I need a legal advisor to sit in front of the full panel. Obviously, there was 5 members of the GMC and a barrister there, and I was on my own.
Disgusting.
So that they said they went away for and they came back. They can't they can't adjourn the date. So then they passed on their decision on me.
So I'm hearing that's quite
to what I have done. My fault was to tell the truth to the public and to safeguard their life and tell what exactly is happening. And I was very much concerned about the safety of patient and the loved one. Obviously, I'm a father. I've got a family, and I treat everybody equally, regardless of any color, race, individuality, religion. I don't discriminate anybody. That's what is my ethos. And I learned how to safeguard my patient and how to give no harm. That's what I did.
yes.
And I have been penalized in this way.
So have you got an appeal coming up, or you said it's adjourned?
In fact, I appealed soon after I got the decision by email. I appealed several times. 3-4 times I have appealed myself with all the facts and figures which I was not able to submit during the hearing process because I didn't have time to catch up with the hearing bundle and the reality to speak up. But I appealed to the regulatory body, but they disregarded my appeal, and they said the earliest one could be possible by the end of November. And that.
So you're not able to appeal now until November, is that right?
Now, I have received another letter today from the regulatory body that they're adding up some more cases because I've spoken they've not added that time. They're adding some more allegation on me. What the allegations are that I have said about the 5G, which they haven't added into that. What I have to do with the 5G? What is it have to do with the thermal?
I remember being very careful. I remember being very careful in our interviews that all we did was say what effects would EMF waves have on the body, and you just went through a medical breakdown of what symptoms would come up. So these are scientific papers that anyone can lay their hands on.
Absolutely, I've got hundreds and hundreds of paper of each and every single subject, which I did quoted them. I made a lot of attachments, the references, which I collected from my colleagues, and a large number of the evidence to which I submitted, and to telling them that, look, this is my position, and I have family, and I need to be working because it's contrary to my surgical my skill. I'm a surgeon, because surgeon means I need to keep up my skill. If I don't operate, then I lose my skill. And 3 months down the line, I have not operated any patient, and I can't work because my license has been taken away, and I can't practice medicine. It looks like I've been targeted. I've been discriminated, and I have been isolated, and I have been cornered. And what they're going to do next?
They like to make an example of people. That's the problem, Mohammed. They will make an example of you to deter anybody else from coming forward.
So that's what they do. By speaking my lips, they are trying to stop me speaking, so that I'm not threatened. I'm not threatened with that. I know I'm a skillful person. I'm a doctor. Nobody can snatch my skill from me.
Absolutely.
I'm not threatened by GMC. I'm not threatened by anybody. I'm self-protect and I don't fear. I said initially, Robin, if you remember, the cause is bigger than the cost. I paid this cost. At what cost? At the cost of saving humanity and the mankind. And the world, 7.6 billion people. This is a testimony for all the health professionals, for all the intellectuals, and all the economists, and all the social care workers. All the humanity is suffering from. That's what I believe on, and we are answerable to God Almighty for one day. And during our time, this has happened, and this is testimony for everybody. One side, the two class of people, which has actually resulted as a result of all this lockdown. One group is that they watch BBC News every evening at their rest time, and they listen everything what has been thrown by the mainstream media on their face, and they follow that instruction, and they think the government is talking right, and they're not able to understand what's going on and what is the actual agenda. They just virus has been used as a scapegoat to achieve a lot of other things which are visible to us with long being a professional. We can look into that. You can look into that, and many intellectuals can look into that. But the common people, they don't understand what's going on and what is the agenda behind. That's one group, and they follow the instruction by the government, and they think government doing the best for them. And the second group is those who actually, like you and me, we think about that in a broader spectrum. We are not looking at a narrow spectrum like the government and the first group of people are looking, without looking into the far-reaching effects of a lockdown and far-reaching effect of isolation, causing depression, anxiety, and loss of economy, and loss of transport, and the medium to large and the small scale business have been totally collapsed. And the UK, the UK, what you call the 14% is the fall of the economy of UK, which is more than three.
The GDP. GDP.
So how are we going to recover that? There's a serious collapse. There is a serious collapse in the economy, which is causing
25% gap in the GDP at the moment as it stands, and I think we're heading towards 30% unemployment across the country. It's absolutely nuts that the government are allowed to decimate small businesses and their livelihoods and completely mess up kids' education and even access to healthcare. These things, everything seems to have stopped for COVID, for some virus that so-called virus that is no less worse than the seasonal flu.
Absolutely, and I have collected the data. I've been having a long-standing experience while working in the health professional and having a lot of experience and knowledge and research work on various topics. I just critically question the far-reaching effect of this lockdown on the public, personal, and social lives and economy, which resulted into total devastation. And the effect of the coronavirus reaching on all of us, which we have all been affected. That is, I had,
Yeah.
I had no intention to politicize the virus or to play down the virus itself. But
Yes.
I wanted to contribute my make my scientific contribution towards improving the mankind and the humanity and to serve the public.
Tell us, Doctor, tell us, how has this personally affected you? You spoke about it affecting other people, but this must have had a real impact on you and your family, those in immediate relationship with you.
It has seriously impacted my family. Obviously, it's in many ways, like in having a personal effect on the personal life and also professional life. That I'm a surgeon, I'm a doctor. I need to be close to the patient, and my all skills and experience and the knowledge which I have accumulated in the last 40 years that should have been used by the public for the patient and for treating my patient coming under my care. I've saved thousands of lives by dealing as a surgeon throughout my life, and I have treated them very well, removed the cancers, I relieved their pain, I given them new life.
So Richie Allen made a really good point yesterday. He said, why should the opinion of a doctor have any bearing on his professional capacity? If he holds a view of some description, why is that going to diminish his capability of delivering healthcare? And for everyone's record, doctor sent me a job offer that he's been given, but he can't start this without his license. So, to take someone's economic well-being away is a grievous thing to do to someone, especially without due process and also without justification. Without justification or legal basis, because for heaven's sake, we can all hold a view, no matter how far left wing, right wing, whatever it is, but we're still not stopped from working unless it's deemed so dangerous. But what is dangerous about someone saying we've not isolated the virus, the test kits are unreliable, this is going to have health detriment to all sorts of people, So what's wrong with that?
This is a time when a health professional like myself should be working in hospital, treating my patients and taking care of their health and well-being. I am sitting at home doing nothing. Is it not detrimental to the public health? It is indeed, of course. And I should have been working in the hospital and these rather than sitting at home. But that has impacted on my professional life and also on the family life. I've got three children. My elder son is going to university in September. Obviously, he requires.
Was he going to be a surgeon as well?
Oh, he's very wise. He's wiser than me. He had chosen engineering. He's going to do electronic engineering. So when he passed GCSE, I asked him if he could do medicine. But he's looking at my life. He said, "Dad, you are always busy with your patients. Give us time." Now I've got plenty of time for them, and they are happy. We go jogging, we do a lot of exercises, and
that's lovely.
But 12-month suspension with 6 months review, and having this in mind that could go either way because of my expression and my personal point of view, and that could go anywhere.
Yes. How have your peers responded to you? Those people who are professionals alongside you, who you've clearly worked with for many, many years.
Yeah.
Have they shared their views with you?
Of course, you might have seen that there was a petition going on. There were two petitions actually for the unfair suspension of me. You might have come across. So there were 2,000 signatures on one petition, and there were 1,500 on the other one, which obviously the health professional has circulated across the world, and people have very kindly responded. And also, the health professional from UK and from rest of the world, I've seen people coming out, and they're more and more joining in UK, and we had a good gathering in Hyde Park last weekend, and we're going to have more in future. People are understanding, and the only thing is they need to be reassured. They need to be told what's going on. They need to understand what is the benefits and the disadvantage of social distancing and masking and vaccination. They need to be told exact picture, and they need to
Yes.
be told what is the advantage of the 5G. And they are rolling out across the country and putting lockdown in one area and patchy on the other area. That is something more than just a viral infection in patchy areas. That is not understandable as a health professional. I can't understand how is it possible, what they want to do, and what have they done, what is their plan. Are they going toward the digital currency? Are they going to roll out the 5G technology connecting with all our mobile phones, which are dangerous? And obviously, we give our own information. That's the most spy in our pocket, actually. And this is what is going to join the artificial intelligence, and which could be useful for the military and the agriculture and the transportation and telecommunication and the electronic equipments and the Star Wars and borders, but not good for the public. Public has not been told, actually. That's why they think.
Yes.
Many people ask me, "What is the advantage, doctor? What do you think about 5G?" I tell them that, look, guys, this is something which government should have told before. They should get the people on in their confidence before, because there are elderly people and the middle-aged people and the children. Is it going to affect? It is
Mm,
going to affect
mm.
on the public personal life and their health and the health of the animals, as well as the land and our fields and the crops. In fact, which obviously is detrimental to the health as well in many ways.
Yeah.
So I heard, well, let's try and think. I had some emails. That's right. I put a little video into Anna Brees, who we're trying to get you in contact with. And as a result of that, and mentioning your two interviews, I had a doctor come forward and say they are now feeling the heat a little bit from speaking up themselves. So what would you say to doctors who figured this stuff out? You know, there's something not right. What would you say to them today?
My message to health professionals is they should come out and speak the truth, regardless of your personal interest related to yourself or your family. You should come and speak the truth. And
Mm,
we have taken the oath that
mm,
we will safeguard our patient and watch their interests, regardless of our belief, our personal point of view. So we are here to do no harm rather than doing harm. If we don't come out today, there'll be a lot of harm coming in future, which we can see, and we can. It's all going in a very fast way. So it's our professional duty as a medical professional to come and speak the truth and tell public and relieve their anxiety and to express to them know what's going on. There are a lot of fear, tension, resulting into anxiety, depression, and they're getting isolated. They feel that due to masking their personal and the liberty is going away, and they're getting more control on them.
okay.
So you
Health
You
crisis.
mentioned about healthcare professionals of all levels needing to speak out, and regardless of the consequences, they should be speaking out purely on the basis of moral and ethical principles alone. Not even the fact that they should be thinking about their jobs, but these people who are keeping this information and not speaking out, they obviously have no idea that if they don't speak out now, they are going to lose their jobs regardless anyway.
Absolutely.
Because
If I can
my
get tomorrow, they are going to be targeted, right? If
well,
today, I was surprised when I saw that letter from the General Manager. I've been targeted, discriminated, I've been isolated, and I've been shut down. I've been censored, right? I've been silenced. If it's me today, after the 30-year experience, nobody's going to be safe. And tomorrow it's you who is going to have this similar problem. And wait
Which
for that day when we will be having this problem. And we are watching this very closely, and things are getting bad to worse.
which which brings me back to something that you said in the beginning, Dr. Adil. You mentioned, what is this all coming to? Are they looking to package the NHS up, sell it off? And we are hearing at a government level, at a parliament level, that the Conservative peers voted against protecting the NHS from any trade deals when it gets to Brexit. And this has been in the pipeline for a long time. The NHS has been eyed up by so many different countries for sale. It is obviously a very difficult one because it is a very disjointed organization.
This is very serious. I wanted to talk about that.
Yes.
During in the beginning of this so-called pandemic, what the slogan was: "Stay home, protect NHS, save lives."
Yes.
They asked people to stay at home, so they never turned up for the treatment because they had a lot of fear generated by the main media that they are going to die if they turn them into the hospital, and they had no capacity to cater these people who were waiting for their investigation and treatment, even the cancer treatment. They all have been deprived of by their treatment, and many died at home because of the fear, the anxiety, the depression, and the heart attacks. And today, people stayed at home. NHS has been protected, and 6 months time, how much money has been saved, which has not been spent on the public. Can you imagine that? I would strongly request the public to look into the slogan: "Stay at home, save NHS." They have saved, protect NHS. They have protected the NHS, resulting into 5 million waiting to have the, and they will require 5 years. So mean that if in 5 year time, how they are going to tackle that. So what they are going to suggest. And we said that, Robin is witness that we said in March when I did the interview, that's the way forward. They're going to either create sort of the system like in America and Canada, like privatization, having
Insurance based.
Listen. I heard Matt Hancock made a presentation to a doctors' convention in the UK and declared that online diagnosis will be the way forwards. And he said it. He said that and had the most tepid round of applause afterwards. He didn't get any punctuation marks of applause throughout this speech. And you can imagine, can't you, if you're a doctor who spent all their life seeing people face to face, knowing that you had a value in human connection, to be told you're going to be, doing Zoom calls and what have you, essentially being outsourced and, either worked 20 times harder or not giving the same quality of care, something's going to change for the worse, way worse.
But it's also bringing in the technology side. This is a Trojan horse to bring forward all these corporate organizations, companies that have these new technology to assist in care homes, to diagnose and all of this. They make profit. It's not about the people, it's about profit.
That's what is going to happen. I appreciate your being, Seema. You rightly said that. That's what they're trying to introduce. What they're doing, there's especially a group of the organization who are working on creating fear among the public, psychology, how to control human psychology. How is being controlled? I tell you how. We go to the shopping center and there is a man with a cap. He's standing at the door. He tells us whether I have a mask or not. And he tells me which way to enter, which way to come out. Is it not getting control on us? And if we don't have a mask, we have been told, they look at us and they think that we have done some crime, and we look on ourselves that we have done some crime. Perhaps we don't have a mask. And then the man with the cap, he says that, okay, I'll let you go this time, but next time, if you come, I'll not let you go. Is it not a control to control the psychology of public? This is a serious problem which is ongoing. We go to the restaurant there, we're not honored. Have you booked your online table? No, sorry, we can't entertain you because you haven't booked your online table. So you need to take this leaflet at this number and go log on to the Pizza Hut or any other McDonald's, and then you come back, and after a waste of time, and half an hour you go and log on to that. You say, "Oh, what I'm going to do? Why I have to be here?"
Yeah.
They are actually trying get more control on public by social distancing. They are trying to eliminate the intimate contact with the
Yes.
patient, with the public.
So
The handshaking is not allowed. But you know that. That is
yeah, no, I just did a
controlling people, and digital currency. That's what is coming up.
yeah.
Behavior modification at its absolute finest. This is the whole thing on display. Yeah.
This is what
So
we're trying to control with the different groups to control the
so
human
Yes.
technology,
so
services, online services. Everything is going online, including the student studies and university study. I had this feeling that my son is going to university. He's going to sit at home and do online university training. What sort of confidence we're going? What sort of leadership we're going to get from children students who are sitting at home and they are on computer? They haven't learned how to interact with the world, how to have a leadership. They don't want leaders. They don't want any visual, intellectual people. They want somebody like a robot sitting at home.
yeah, absolutely.
You can see that the online purchase. The Amazon like used to take time to deliver their package. Now you order tonight, tomorrow you'll get it at the doorstep. So online shopping, online food, online studies, online hospital stuff. All the doctors they're getting the tons of files at home to sit at home, to work from computer. You don't need to come to the hospital. That's the culture they're going to generate. Now, Mr. Hancock is telling us that it's going to be online medical services, though, so that they don't employ people into the hospital.
Sure.
Get rid of them, especially the overseas people. I'm telling you now, this
It's
is the agenda behind.
So
first step towards AI. Yeah.
Different environment, different
so
environment
great.
used as a scapegoat. There are a lot of other agenda behind.
So great question from Howard. Any ideas how we can get more people on our side? This is great, but it's preaching to the converted.
This message and the health. I request to the health professionals to come out because this is the health crisis which people think, and we need to coordinate with the public. We need to spread message rapidly with a lot of people who know what's going on and who think about that what's going on, but they need to be encouraged to come out and gather and make it's kind of a connection with each other, and
This is
get more and more strength. That's my
this
advice.
is a this is a real problem that we've got in our age. We've become so socially engineered to the point where we are disjointed. We don't have connection with our neighbors, or there is a community has dwindled to the extent where you don't know your next door neighbor anymore. You're not having those social interactions like you used to stop on a corner of a street and have a chat with your neighbor, or your family. Even your family lived close together. Now everyone is so spread apart and around the world that it means that actually it's ripped the very fabric of family out of society. And that's what they've always wanted. They want us apart and not communicating and not talking. And this is another reason why the censorship, blanket censorship, has come.
This is what's going to happen. The government and the law and order maintaining authority, they are implementing this kind of system, which is a total dictatorial sort of style with loss of human rights
Surveillance.
and democratic rights. They're going to be abolished altogether. They're trying to build one currency, digital currency, and one religion. This is not possible because the nature is there. And anything which happens against nature is totally destroyed. There are many pharaohs who came in this world, but they have been destroyed. Nobody lived forever. But
And
this
I
time, remember, whosoever comes out, he is a great human being, and we have to answer to the Almighty. When the people were suffering on earth, who came to rescue my people? This is my belief, and I respect all the religion, and I respect all the prophets came on earth, and we have witnessed that. So I'm a strong believer on that, and I take care of humanity. I look after people as a health professional. I look after their health. So anything against nature is always destroyed. No matter what they do, it's not going to work anyway. This is my
I love that you bring God into this, that you place him above all. And our creator is our creator. He is almighty. And a lot of the types of groups that you've spoken about tonight, the elderly, families that have been left with falsified documents. I'm just going to call it what it is, because it's falsified documents. I mean, I personally had someone die and I wasn't able to go and honor his body at his funeral. There's so many people that have been crimes have been committed, whether it's murder, whether it's genocide, whether it's falsification, fraud, harm, loss, injury, all these things. There are those groups of people many who are going to experience these things, and they may never get justice in this earth, in this time. But the one thing that I always believe is that those perpetrators, those people that have committed those crimes, will answer one day. They will have to stand in judgment one day, and it might not be in this lifetime, but it will be.
Even during lifetime, we are seeing that people like pharaohs, they never stay forever. They are destroyed, and nature will not forgive them. But with unity, hope. I'm not pessimistic. I am an optimistic person. I look forward. I'm not feared about anything, and I'm not bothered about what they are trying to censor me. They've censored me. They're trying to silence me. I'm not going to be silenced. You do what you want to do. And I said earlier that I, in spite of 30 years working, where I stand now, I stand with the public. I don't stand with the atrocities. I don't stand with the dictatorship. I respect the humanity, and I'm a public member, and I'm with the public with all my sincerity, love, and association.
And that's another thing, is that the people that are willingly, whether knowingly or unknowingly, living in this ignorance of I'm okay, Jack, it's all right, I'm okay. They don't realize that actually we are all connected, and that everything we do impacts everything around you. It impacts and influences everything. Even if you did nothing, that in itself is doing something, and that means it will have repercussions. And if it's not here, it will be in eternity.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on. It's not just a virus. The public is not able to understand. They're just looking in a small spectrum, a narrow window. That is just a virus which has been used as a scapegoat. But there are a lot of other things, spiritual things, the religious things, and the total control, and the economy, and the health services. They're all going to be impacted. Can you imagine that how the health secretary, Mr. Matt Hancock, is advising to the health professionals that there's going to be online hospital over the phone. You don't need to come. Who's going to operate those patients? The patient who needs surgical intervention. They only call surgeon when they require. That's the culture they want to develop. They're already developed this culture. So online delivery, online shopping, online books, online library,
convenience.
Online conferences, medical conferences. I have attended at least 15. 4 days congress I've been sitting on with the Association of Coloproctology of Great Britain and Ireland. So I've been 4 days attending that congress. There were thousands of people logged in. So this is the culture. People don't need to travel. That's what they're planning. Don't need to travel anywhere in the world, and there will be no cash currency. There will be digital currency. Why? Because they want to get more control that day. For example, I go to the shop and I pay money by cash. I know that where I was with my in restaurant or in a shop with my family, what time I paid, and what is my my personal detail. They got everything, and cash is going to finish very soon. And people have to understand that this is not just a virus which has been used. Again, I'm saying as a excuse for implementing their one world order. To try to understand that, and or what the government or mainstream media says, but think of your intellect and what is the best for you. Because the life with a fear is no life. That's I believe on this earth. If you fear more, you're not going to win. Your offense is the best defense. So I would like you to get together, make a good alliance, and stand for your rights. That is the fundamental principle I believe on.
Fantastic. And I need to acknowledge you, Doctor, for appearing on Brian Rose's interview with Dr. Rashid Buttar, who had a panel. Was it 164 doctors, and you were one of them? Yeah. In that panel, where for a good hour you were being asked some great questions, and you all had a chance to vote. And obviously, it was great to see you there. And you know, I can see that potentially happening in the UK. Simone and I'd be really, really happy to host a Zoom call. If we can find some UK doctors, we're more than happy to host that for you.
We've got a lot of medical professionals coming up. I have met actually the nurses and the paramedics and the medical doctors. They have come up, and we are going to have a similar sort of meeting, or rather judicial review by the medical professionals for clarifying the problem the
yes
world is suffering from.
And there's also the Germans put out a panel about 3 to 4 weeks ago, didn't they? And they had 5 or 6 great people.
And Spain.
Professor and the specialists, they have come authority in their relevant subjects. They have openly challenged the lockdown, the mask and social distancing and everything. They have watched very cleverly, and they have come to this conclusion that whatever is happening is actually not the real world; it's the artificial world which has been made to.
They've weaponized it. They've weaponized.
And also, the reflection of 1.3 million people on last weekend in Berlin was self-explanatory to open the eyes of the public. And also, the underprivileged country like India and Nigeria and all the people, they understand the poverty graph has gone up. They have been told exactly the same protocol is being followed everywhere in the world. Is it not a planned operation? What is involved in that? Is there money involved? Is there the politics involved? Yes, of course, there's a lot of money flooded by the world.
And I think
especially the vaccine industry.
For the health problem, WHO itself is not sure about what's going on. So how are we going to get these SOPs? Medical professionals are going to tell that we are.
Which I think is why your treatment was so harsh, and my little channel got deleted without warning, because you did this 360 view on everything. It wasn't just the doctor's opinion on the science, but it was also the awareness of big business, the vaccine and the tech industry.
Medical professional, Robin. This is our medical, ethical, and humble duty to clear the dust from the things which are not clear. People are having cloudy perception what's going on through the very narrow spectrum, what I've been told by the mainstream media. But there is a lot more going on behind the clouds. And our job as medical professionals and intellectuals and people like yourself and Simon and all the journalists and the people who deal with the economy, it's our job to come forward and show the right pathway to the public, which direction we're going. We're going toward disaster at the moment, and we need to come out of that narrow tunnel. We are going toward a cul-de-sac, and I don't raise the destruction there. And I am looking at the way out for the public across the world.
Which brings me to another question, Dr. Adil, which I wanted to ask you about, is where does this lead you now? What does this now lead you on to? You've obviously been through what you've been, and we commend you for your bravery and for your passion for people and your patience, which is obviously and very clearly you hold very dear to you. You've obviously gone into a job that you feel passionate about and want to help people, and that's all you want, is to help people. But where do you go now if you don't get your license back and your appeal maybe doesn't go through? I hope it does, because I think this is an absolute joke. And I think, Dr. Adil, give us your petitions. We'll get everybody signing them up, get those numbers up for you. But the main thing is where do you see yourself in 6 months' time now, knowing what you know, having been through what you've been through?
I appreciate your kind feeling about my job and my well-being. Obviously, this is a serious problem which I can see myself and my family. Obviously, we are going through that, but it's a very difficult time. So I got a letter today by the regulatory body that they have put some more into the previous allegation, including the 5G technology, which I mentioned about. They said they've forgotten about that, and there are some other things like that. I'm sure I know that what they can
Can
tell.
they do that? Can they do that? Can they backtrack and add things in? That's
They have now asked me to submit further information regarding the couple of allegations they have made, more allegations to strengthen their own case. They know that where they stand, and they asked me to submit before 2nd of September. So what decision they're going to make, I don't know.
that strikes me as desperate.
Yeah,
Desperate.
I don't know what they're going to do, but things are not looking very bright. And I have no hesitance to tell public that this is I've been targeted, I've been discriminated, I've been isolated, and this is the suffering for my not only my professional career and my reputation as a surgeon with long-standing experience, and also the chair of the international medical organization, also detrimental to my family and their livelihood and well-being. And I expect justice from the GMC, which is my regulatory authority. I'm not denying. I cooperated with them, and I will cooperate with them, and I'll submit my response for the question they have raised, and I will explain, and then the decision you will hear and public will see, and then I will need public support at that time.
Well, we've just seen someone pop your a petition into the comments section. So everybody, if you are seeing that, please do sign your name. We know petitions are a form of begging, but this is important. If they can see that Dr. Adil has numbers backing him and supporting him, then they may back down a bit more for fear of backlash from the public.
I've put it in the description.
Dr. Adil, thank you, Robin. I know that behind the scenes you're working on a few other things. You're connecting with some other professionals, and not just in the healthcare industry, but at every, within.
Of course, I'm working with all groups of public members, including every person I respect as a human being, all the professionals, all the intellectuals, the journalists, the economists, and the bankers and the law and order maintaining authority. They should realize they also have got family, they've got children. They need to understand that what's going on, and if they are abiding by their duties, I respect that. But they need to understand at the same time that they should not be used as a scapegoat to fight against the public, which is not right. Because at the end of the day, we are professional, but we are public members at the same time. This is our moral duty to stand with the public and protect.
Absolutely.
The oath taken by the military and the police is to protect the enemy within the country and from the outside. So we've got enemies within the country and from outside, and we need to protect our public from all the possible risks and to protect our next generation and to safeguard our people and the humanity. That's my message.
Absolutely, and what a good message that is. I mean, you are so for the people, and that's what we need right now. People like yourself who are willing to be a bit of a punch bag, because as sad as that sounds, we need figureheads like yourself who are persevering in getting the truth out, getting it up to a level where other peers, other colleagues, other professionals will come forward. And that's what I'm hoping. That's why we've got you on tonight, Dr. Adil, because we think that the more you speak out, the more people hear your story, the more others will come into agreement with that.
Health professionals, they are very confident. I know they have gone through this stage, and we have gone through a lot of difficulties, one ocean after the other, like doing GCSE and A level, and then the basic medical sciences, and then the specialist thing. We meet challenge from day to day. This is something it's extraordinary, where people are suffering all over the planet.
Exactly.
It's our duty to come forward and speak up the truth. and tell us and guide us what's going on,
Yes.
and guide to the public and show the right pathway, which is our humble duty. We're not
Yes.
slaves, we're not sheep to be guarded by somebody who wants to do want to drag all the sheep into one corner. This is what I don't like the health professional and all the professionals
Mm.
to come forward and speak the truth to safeguard the humanity. That's my
Yes. There is a scripture that says in Ephesians 5:11, expose the fruitful works of darkness, have nothing to do with it. And that's part of what we must do, is expose the darkness that is going on so that it will come, because the light will overcome.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always a light at the other end of the tunnel, and we only need to see that when we have got eyes to look at the light, really. So everything is crystal. We've got darkness in front of us, but there's always light behind the tunnel. That's what we are here to help each other, to support each other psychologically and physically. This is all about.
I think that is a wonderful place to start wrapping up there, because it's an uplifting message, and I would just ask everyone who's watched this video, if you know a radio host, a YouTuber with a big audience, then please ask if they'll kindly take Dr. Adil as a guest, because we need his message out there. We need more UK doctors and specialists and nurses to come forwards. They need to unite. We need you guys. We need you to show a united front. And the doctor's leading the way. And we pay a tribute to Dr. Kazi too, who took the hit with you, and we salute you, sir, for being brave. Those two interviews are now on BitChute, and if you look at Lifting the Lid, which is my channel on BitChute, you will see those. The doctor's scientific papers are also on an autoresponder. If someone wants to see those, then just email robin3108@hotmail.com with the subject Adil _info, and they'll just fly their way to your inbox without me needing to touch it. So, Simone, would you like to wrap up and finish, or anything final questions?
Well, I just wanted to say that you're actually coming back tomorrow again as one of our guests on a panel tomorrow evening, Dr. Adil. And it's a panel with many other guests who...
Wonderful panel you have, and I must appreciate your Robin's devotion and contribution to
pleasure. It really is.
Awareness among the public. That's all about.
Exactly. We are a platform.
And from the journalist perspective.
Well, we wish more journalists would come forward. We've seen Anna Breeze pop up recently, and we've got who's the guy that you just finished having a
Tony Gosling.
Yeah, we've got citizen journalists, but not enough of them. And the thing that people need to be aware of is that YouTube and Twitter and Facebook are all collaborating together to purge YouTube channels.
We have removed at least my 10 videos. I got the message. I'll send it to you, and you can see that 10 videos YouTube has removed from the YouTube because they went against our community standard. What is community standard? I like to know, because this is a book which is coming up.
Yes. I just got banned today for 24 hours on Facebook. All I did.
Listening me.
Yeah. Well, all I did was post actual facts. That there was a journalist in Austria in 2009 that exposed the WHO, President Obama, all the top generals in public. She actually filed a lawsuit in 2009 because they were going to commit mass murder using the new Ebola vaccine.
At that time, thanks for the reminder. In 2009, they were going to do the pandemic and mass murder, but they were exposed, and the WHO members they were exposed, and they resigned, and they with apologies, but that is not sufficient for after all the catastrophic effect and devastation to the public and their properties and their well-being. So, yes. But at that time, this time they have made it more organized to to be successful. But we need to understand that as hospitals and as
Yes.
together and fight against that.
Yes, this is a well-oiled, well-developed plan over decades, and they've had many. I'm going to say false flags: swine
Yeah,
flu, bird flu, H1N1. These were all purposefully designed to test the
yeah.
waters in different countries and see how. But now they've really finely tuned the plan.
We need to make it this agenda failed. We can only do that by getting all the public and media on board with us. We need
Yeah,
to show unity. That's the only way to defeat them. If
yeah,
we stay isolated and segregated, we'll be divided and ruled. This is the principle they have been using.
yeah,
And a lot of monetary interest involved in that, but that is not everything. We're not going to live here forever. We've got
yeah,
we've got only a short span of life, but that's a testimony for all of us. And
yes.
we need to have a collaborative movement and we need to
Which
take
is something
forward.
many groups are now starting to do. We're going to invite you on tomorrow with some of other panel guests, and we will talk a little bit tomorrow night about what is planned for the next few weeks, few months coming along, how we're going to try and get more unified across the country. And I know that's specifically.
We should hold a meeting in very regular meeting is required. We need to collaborate with the people. We need to get all groups of people together and then move forward. That is this is our fundamental right. We can't see this happening forever. People have only hit for 3 to 4 months. How is it going to happen in 6 months' time if the lockdown is carried out? What is going to happen? Can you imagine that? People are surviving on the reserve they had at the moment. And that is not going to last forever. Even wells can dry down with the passage of time. You need to have a regular income. You need to have a regular job. You need to have the regular, working and have a social interaction with each other. That is all about life. We are born free, and we are a human being is a social animal, and we need to meet each other. We need to share a lot of happiness and grieve it together. That's why this is my message. All
I just want to read a lovely comment out from Ingested Red, who says, Dr. Mohammad Iqbal Adil, we are also thankful for all you have done and continue to do. Your support is priceless to us. We will support you evermore. Big
That's
heart.
very kind of you. Ingested Red. I don't have a name. I'm really grateful for the very kind comments by the members of the public, and the regulatory body have to see this. There are thousands of public members with me, rather than having 3 public members complaining on internet, on the GMC website, ending into censoring me for 12 months. Can you imagine that? This is a message to the regulatory body to look into that. This is a message by the public. What you're talking about, public? Am I risk to the public? This is what the question I'm going to ask from the public. GMC says that I am risk to the public. That's why I need to be penalized. I need to be sanctioned. I need to be suspended in order to safeguard public. Can you imagine that? I have been saving lives and will be helping my patient, and I'm standing by the public to speak the truth. Am I risk to the public? Do you think I should be penalized? That's a question to the public. I like to have an answer. The few questions I would like to say. Should I be given proper time for preparing my case? Yes or no? This is a number 1 question. Number 2 question is, have I been treated very well and honestly and fairly, giving me 4 days for preparing my case to submit my response? Did I have a right to have my legal advisor, which I was not having with the 4 working days? Did I have a right to have my General Medical Council hearing bundle before to hearing? Have I been targeted or not? And what is going to be the outcome? Do public think that I am a risk to the public? I will quit. I will not come to the
It makes an absolute mockery.
Export adhere, because I stand for the public. I stand for the humanity. I stand for you guys. I did not stand for myself. I had risk of my job, my profession, my long-standing working and contribution towards medical sciences and treating my patients and teaching and training to post undergraduates. I've risked my license, my career. I've risked my family. Obviously, they are going to be affected, and I need your support to tell to the regulatory body that this is not fair, and they should take an account of that, and they should resume my lessons to practice to safeguard public health and their lives. That's my message.
Thank you. I think it's a wonderful message. It's a brave message. It's a very courageous message, and we're very grateful. Before we do close this, you are so welcome. Before we close this, one last quick question for you, Doctor. We titled this talk Life Sentence or Life Lessons. Which has it been for you?
I think a life lesson is that we have learned a lot, and people should learn from this experience, that what has happened, and the health professionals should learn from this experience of mine. If I'm targeted today, the next is going to be their turn, and they should prepare for that. If they think that nothing is going to happen to them, I thought the same thing as well. But this is what happened. They're not going to be scared, and nobody's scared. And this is going to happen to them tomorrow, and prepare for that. Unless you show unity and you come forward with one voice and protect each other, and we stand by with the public for their interest. Thank you very much.
Well, we're all standing with you, and we will continue to do that. Yeah, we're looking forward to having you back on tomorrow night as well.
Look forward for that.
Okay.
Thank you, Robin, for your time and your contribution, and I'm really grateful to you. And
no problem at all. It's lovely having you, Doctor, and thank you everyone in chat. You've been wonderful, some lovely comments and keeping each other company, and some great questions too. So episode 6 is a wrap. The Freedom Files with the great Dr. Adil. See you again soon, everyone, and yourself tomorrow, Dr. Adil. Take care. This is the end of our broadcast. Thanks for everyone for being here. Until next time, see you soon.
Thank you so much. All the best.